Dear students, I welcome you on behalf of Thakur Vidya Mandir High School and Junior College for the remote teaching learning process, where our motto is let learning be a joy and teaching a pleasure.
Let us move towards part 4 of chapter number 9, Depository System, wherein today we are going to understand the concepts or the terms which are very much used in the depository system. In our previous video, we understood the four constituents of depository system, that is the depository participant, the beneficial owner and the issuer company. Now today, let us move towards our next question, that is question number 7, wherein we are going to understand the concepts and the terms which are related to the depository system. The first concept relating to depository system is dematerialization. The second concept being rematerialization. The third concept is related to fungibility of securities. And the last one being ISIN, that is International Securities Identification Number. Let us now understand all these four concepts in detail. The first concept is related to dematerialization of securities. Dematerialization is a process wherein the securities held by the client, that is the investor of the securities in physical form, are converted into electronic form. Thus, for dematerialization to take place, it is necessary that the securities exist in physical form, as unless and until they exist in physical form, how will they be dematerialized, that is get converted into electronic form? Now, there are certain steps involved in dematerialization. Firstly, for this, the client, that is the investor of securities, needs to surrender, that is submit the physical certificate along with DRF, that is demat request form, to the depository participant. Now over here, we need to understand about DRF. Demand request form is a form which is available in a prescribed format with the company. An investor who wants to get his or her physical certificates converted into electronic form needs to fill this form in detail and submit the same to the depository participant. The depository participant, that is the DP, then forwards this documents to the depository, that is either NSDL or CDSL. The depository then forwards this documents to the issuer company, that is the company which had issued such securities. Once the issuer company receives these documents, it sends the confirmation of such receipt to the depository. And lastly, the depository, after receiving confirmation from issuer company, credits the securities in demat account of investor and intimates about such credit to the DP. Thus, in this way, through these steps, the physical certificate of the investor gets converted into electronic form, and this process, wherein a number of steps are involved for converting physical securities into electronic form, this process is called as dematerialization of securities. The second concept explains about rematerialization. It is a process wherein the client, that is the BO, gets his electronic holdings of securities converted into physical certificates, that is paper form. It is just exactly opposite to dematerialization, as over here the results of demat are reversed. However, even for rematerialization of securities, a proper procedure need to be followed. Firstly, for this, the client needs to submit a written request to the depository participant in a form which is called as RRF, that is remat request form. After receiving the request from client, the depository participant forwards a copy of RRF to the issuer company as well as the depository under whom the issuer company is registered. Further, the issuer company, on receiving RRF from DP, begins with the process of printing the certificates and then sends the physical certificate to the client. Along with that, the issuer company also sends confirmation to the depository saying that it has accepted the remat request of client. Lastly, after receiving confirmation from issuer company, the depository debits the account of the client with the securities. However, it does so through the depository participant. Thus, on completion of all these steps, the securities of the client gets converted into physical form, that is now the client holds securities in paper form. Out of these two processes of dematerialization and rematerialization, the process of demat is very easy and less time consuming, whereas the process of rematerialization is a complex process as well as time consuming. The next concept speaks about fungibility. Any asset is considered to be fungible when its units are interchangeable with one another, which means that they are indistinguishable. That is, there is no difference between them. It happens when each unit of asset has the same validity and market value. Further, some financial assets are fungible while some other are non-fungible. Examples of financial assets include cash, stocks, bonds, bank deposit, etc. Let us now understand the concept of fungibility and non-fungibility with the help of examples. Firstly, let us take example of land which is not fungible. The term non-fungible means not interchangeable. We all are aware of the fact that every unit of land has its unique or separate qualities, and it is due to these qualities that either the value of land increases or it reduces. As such, one unit of land cannot be interchanged with another unit of land since both have different values due to their unique qualities. Now we shall understand the term fungibility with the help of example of currency note. The term fungibility means the ability of an asset or goods to be interchanged with other individual goods or assets of the same type. Such an interchange is possible as the assets have an equal value. Now, we are very much aware about the fact that there is no difference between two currency notes of the same value. For example, if we want to purchase a dairy milk worth rupees 10 and we have in all 10 notes of rupees 10 each, then it makes no difference whether we pick up the first note of 10 or second or the last, as all 10 rupees note have the same value. It is for this reason that currency note is considered to be fungible. In a similar way, when a company issues security of same class, then all such securities which are issued by same company and of same class have same value irrespective of the fact that who owns such securities. Thus, it can be said that when the securities are held in electronic form, then they are fungible. It is because these securities can be easily interchanged or substituted and cannot be differentiated, that is distinguished from each other. Lastly, these securities do not have features like distinctive number, certificate number, or folio number because these securities have no difference amongst them. The next and the last concept related to depository system is ISIN, that is International Securities Identification Number. ISIN is a unique code which is used to identify the securities like stock, bonds, mutual funds, etc. Such a code is essential as there are so many securities which are traded in the depository system, and as such it would become difficult to identify a particular security. Thus, ISIN makes it easy to identify a particular or a specific security among several securities which have been issued. Further, NNA, that is National Numbering Agency, is responsible for allocating, that is giving ISINs for all the securities which are issued in the country. ISIN is a standard numbering system which is accepted globally throughout the entire world. Next, at present, the structure of ISIN is defined by ISO, that is International Organization of Standardization. Further, in India, the role of NNA, that is National Numbering Agency, is played by SEBI, that is Securities and Exchange Board of India. Further, SEBI has given the work of issuing ISIN to securities to NSDL, that is National Security Depository Limited. However, in case of government securities, the work of assigning or allotment of ISIN is done by RBI, that is Reserve Bank of India. Now, we need to understand as to how the ISIN number is designed. It is basically a 12-digit alphanumeric code which can be divided into three parts. The term alphanumeric means this number consists of alphabets as well as numbers. In the previous point, we learned that the ISIN is divided into three parts or components. So let us now understand which are these three parts or components. The first part is called as prefix. Prefix is nothing but a two-digit country code as given by ISO 6166. For example, the country code of India is IN, which means that all the securities which are issued in India, they will be having the prefix, the starting two digits as IN. The second component is the basic number, which is made up of 9 alphanumeric digits. The third component of ISIN is the check digit, which appears at the end of ISIN to check the validity of ISIN. It is nothing but the final digit which assures the authenticity of code and also acts as a security which checks, or that is basically it prevents the fraud or misuse. Now, let us see some examples of Indian companies with its ISIN. Firstly, Andhra Bank, you can see the ISIN is INE 434A01013. Fortis Healthcare is INE 061F01013. HDFC Insurance Company ISIN is INE 795G 01014. Asian Paints, it is INE021A01026. So accordingly, you can just find out the ISIN of any companies. Each and every company issuing securities have a separate ISIN number. Now let us see how ISIN decoding is done with the help of an example. You can see over here I have listed down a number, that is ISIN number, that is INE002A01018. Now this number is divided into 6 different parts. The first being the first 2 digits, that is IN, nextly E, then the next part is 002A, next being 01, the next is 01, and lastly 08. Now let us understand each of them in detail. The first one being IN. What is IN over here? The IN represents the country code, that is, in our case, it is India. So IN over here stands for India, which means that the company over here is an Indian company which is issuing its securities. The second part being E. E represents a company, that is issuer, which company has issued. Over here you can see, if suppose in place of E this would have been A, then in that case it would have been a central government company. Instead of E, if it had been B, then it could have been a company which is owned by the state government. In a similar way, C represents municipal corporation, D represents union territory, E, as in our case you can see, it is a company, or it could be even a statutory company or corporation. And if it is F, it stands for mutual fund. Now, the next is 002A. 002A represents the identity of a company. Further, 01. 01 represents that the company has issued equity shares. Now suppose instead of 1 over here it is 2. Then it indicates post saving scheme. If it is 3, then it indicates that the company has issued preference shares. If it is 12, the number is 12, then it indicates that it is debentures. And if it is 14, it indicates that government securities have been issued by the company. Next, 01. 01 represents the serial number which is issued to the security. And lastly, 8, as we discussed earlier, it is nothing but a check digit which indicates the authenticity of the entire code, and it also prevents from any type of fraud. So with this, we have completed all the 4 basic concepts which are very much used in the depository system. That is, we understood about dematerialization, rematerialization, fungibility, and ISIN. Thank you children for your patience listening.